What's up guys, Brian here. Welcome to another video of Onmyoji. So today we're gonna do something a little light-hearted. We're gonna focus on the Demon Parades, a surprisingly fun mini game that I have really enjoyed, even though I didn't think I would. And the reason why I'm doing this video is because I know that newer players might have a lot of difficulties doing this, and I have met viewers who are having trouble. So I guess sort of per request, I'll be doing this video. So the first thing I like to do when I'm in Demon Parades, I like to check the records just to get an idea of which of my friend has been using my Onmyoji, and I like to return a favor by using their Onmyoji as well, so they can get some shards. And you can just sort of browse through who's been using your Onmyoji, and once you get an idea, you can just invite them, and usually they are listed on the top that says recent, or you can just invite whoever you want. Of course, another option would just be to not invite anyone, and that's not a good idea. Even if you're not really close to a friend, you should still invite somebody, because whoever you invite is going to help you in capturing the units. And as you can see here, I have 137. I think that's a pretty great amount because I have been putting off in doing Demon Parades, and I just simply don't have time to do it. So before we get into the Demon Parades, I just want to quickly go over some of the stuff you might expect. The first one being the God Beans bonus. So as the name implies, after you've gotten this bonus, it's just going to give you more beans. I believe this is one of the best bonuses there is, so try to get it as soon as it appears. Okay, the next one is going to be the chance of buff. Basically what it does is after this buff is activated, it will greatly increase your chance of picking up a unit after you throw beans at it. So again, this is a highly desirable buff. I would recommend you guys to get it. The only time I wouldn't recommend you to get it is if your bean counts are too low, or there simply isn't any units around that you're interested in. In that case, you can just skip the chance of buff. The next two buffs I want to talk about is the slow and the freeze buff. So as the name implies, they both sort of immobilizes your enemy. The only difference being the slow buff will slow down your enemy, whereas the freeze buff will actually make them stay at their place until the effect is over. These two buffs are kind of situational. You sort of have to strategize a little bit to use them to the fullest potential. They're definitely useful, but you definitely don't want to hit them as soon as you see it. You want to make sure that there are units that you want on the screen before you apply these buffs. Otherwise, you're just sort of prolonging the fight without much purpose. The next buff is the assist up buff. What it's supposed to do, it is supposed to make the helper more efficient, thereby yielding you more shards towards the end. But just based on my personal experience, I never find it to be that helpful. So this is where I ask you guys to use your own judgment whether you want to use this buff or not. So the last buff we're going to talk about is the fast beans bonus. What it does is it's going to allow you to throw the beans much faster, but that also means that you're going to burn down your beans reserve much faster. So personally, I don't really like this buff just because I like to take my time and wait for my target to show up. But if there's a really hard unit to take down, such as an SSR unit, then it might be a good time to use this buff. Lastly, if you see a unit with a lantern sign hanging next to it, it's supposed to mean the unit is easier to catch. But based on my own experience and many others players' response, that is not the case. So maybe the buff rate is so small that we can't really notice it, or maybe it's just not working. Again, I highly encourage you guys to get the God Beans bonus and the chance of buff. As for the slow and the freeze buffs, I would recommend you guys to just use your own judgment and just play by ears. Depending on the situation, they might or might not come into handy. So this also applies to fast beans. It might or might not come into handy depending on the units available for capture on the screen. And lastly, assist up buff. Again, it's really up to you. I didn't really notice any notable difference. but if you want to just give it a shot, grab it. Otherwise, just save your beans and throw it at the units. And I wouldn't worry about the lantern so much unless it's attached to a unit that you are interested in. But if it is attached to a unit that is of R grade, then you can probably just ignore it, or just ignore it altogether because the mechanic is not working properly. Okay, so again, we're presented with 3 units, and obviously I'm gonna go with the SR unit, even though I do not need her, but I also don't need the other 2, and I'd rather get a chance to get more SR unit than to choose some units that I'm likely never gonna use. So start, and you know, by choosing Vampira, it's giving more of an incentive to try to get her when she shows up. Again, we're waiting for the freeze to kind of like move to the end before we hit it. Chance up is always a great buff. You want to get it, and even though you don't see any units you like, it will greatly increase your chance of getting a unit. And if you have chance up active, then you would like to hit, as I guess, be more generous with the beans, because you get a greater chance of the units. So you shouldn't really try to save the beans when there's a chance up bonus. So you can like really maximize on the effect. Okay, freeze. Okay, I'm gonna go for the Vampira again. Okay. Wow, this run actually went surprisingly well. So we got a total of 4 plus 4, 8, 10, 12. We got 12 SR shards. So I feel pretty good about this one. And I guess the main reason why we got so many SR shards was because I guess the placement of the unit it just came out right. And also, I think we also benefited a lot from the 2 chance up that we got. Feel free to rewind, go back, and I know I'm just talking a lot, but there's just so much going on in Demon Parades. It's kind of hard to focus. So yeah, let's do it again. There you go. Let's go with Zeph again. Zeph is actually a really good YouTuber, and he's doing, I guess, 2 games right now. One of them being Onmyoji. So check out his channel. Sometimes he shares some really useful tips that I didn't even know about. So yeah. Hey, Ubume, that's excited to see her as part of the selection, because I can never have too many Ubume shards. I need a lot of them to scale up my Ubume, whom I haven't started building yet, but I will, because 1 DPS is just not enough. Okay, I'm kind of interested in Onmyoji, but I'm gonna stay put and wait for Kama Itachi. Oh, I'm just blanking on the names. Ebisu, great. Okay, so again, I'm sort of waiting for the buffs to reach to the far end before I attack them, because this will maximize, I guess, the effect of the buffs. And you will almost always want to get the God Beans buffs. There's a chance up, which is great. We got the Ubume. See, you guys hear how we just start ticking down the units consecutively, and that's the effect of the chance up buff. That's how powerful it is. Oh, we got lucky on the last one. So great runs. I got a really desirable unit shard, which is Ubume. Again, I can never have too many of her. And we got some Ebisus, and yeah, that was a pretty good. One thing that's very important to note is you want to make sure you pace yourself when you're in the Demon Parades. Do not throw beans at units that you have no desire for, and only aim for the ones that you want. So I'm going to choose Zeph again, and some of you guys might know Zeph. He's actually a YouTuber who's also doing Onmyoji videos. So we have, wow, our first 3 SR choices all at once. I'm gonna go with Inugami, he can be pretty good in the PvP area. I can use more shards of him. Again, I like to select 8. You can select whatever you want. Just know that the higher the number you select, the greater the chance you'll be able to I guess take down the unit every throw, but it will also burn up your beans much faster if you select 10. So the higher number, the faster you burn out your beans, but the greater the chance you'll be able to take down a unit. Again, chance up is good, and I'm gonna try to aim for the arrow lady. That didn't work. Hello. There you go. Perfect. Ebisu is great, so I'm gonna try to get Ebisu. So you can see I'm trying to keep my bean count to the time, but sometimes there just aren't any good units, so I'm just sitting there and waiting for the next good unit to show up. Okay, great. We have the chance up buff, and we have the Inugami. Let's hope get him. Oh, great! Wow, perfect. That was a close one. So we managed to use up all our beans, and the time was up, and we got 6 Inugami. So it really sometimes it pays off to just stay put and just pace yourself. And as you can see here, we did pretty good this time. We got a total of 8 SR shards, and they're all Inugamis. So once we press enter, you will be presented with 3 Shikigamis. You're gonna pick one that you like the most, and then if you're able to capture that specific unit in this mini game, then you'll get more shards, whichever you picked. So this is a very good buff, so I'm gonna get that. And well, we got really lucky. We got 2 chance up, and once you've gotten chance up, you will want to make it work for you. You know, just use it to the fullest potential. That is when you want to like really go all out and in throwing out your beans. That is when you have the chance up buff with you. Of course, you still wouldn't want to spend it on like really useless units, but just remind yourself that when you have a chance up buff with you, that's when you want to really try to make the most out of it. Another chance up, great. I love chance ups because it's really useful. Okay. So I think we did really great this time, and especially since we got an SSR shard. But the main reason why I got this Shutan Doji shard is because he had a lantern sign on top of his head, so he's actually easier to obtain compared to the normal SSR shards. And on top of that, we had the chance up buffs when we caught him, so I guess we just got lucky on this one. But yeah, as you can see, we got 8 SR shards and 1 SSR shard, so did pretty good this time. So that's it for today. Please remember that this is only based on my opinion. There might be better ways to do demon parades out there, so just make sure you get a lot of practice. I'm sure you guys might come up with something better. And if you like this video, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And if you have any questions, please leave them down below, and I'll see you guys next time.